late, so we're
Right, that's right. She did say that. And Alex can't come
Alex
tonight.
said he's
So
not coming.
okay, great. So let's see. I'm gonna look at you're all on this tiny little pane at the top of my screen. So I'm gonna try and make out who's here to take the attendance. All right, Sarah Pease.
Here.
Steve Brown.
Here.
Carolyn Coffey.
Here.
Mary Lou Lawrence.
Here.
Elaine Breslow.
Present.
Brooke
Brooke
Jewell. Yeah, now I see you. Thank you for waving. And Megan Brinzy is TBD and Alex is Viteri is absent. So, and I'm here. Is that everybody? Did I capture everybody?
So, yes.
Okay. All right. So that's the attendance for tonight. I guess we can say we're convening the meeting at 6. I guess it was probably 6:03. And how about the minutes? Oh, we didn't have minutes because we didn't have a meeting last time. But we have to
We have November ones that didn't get approved.
right. Okay.
I move to approve
Never
that.
seen. They
I
got posted
think.
later.
Do I hear a
They were in
second?
this,
They were in
this
the
month's
December
folder,
one.
Yeah.
in the
I
Jan-
didn't know.
I think, or did you put them
They
in
were
the
in
December folder?
for
Okay.
the.
I have a
forgotten
copy
that.
here if anybody wants to.
They came out.
Did everybody
okay.
have a chance to look at them since they were sort of buried in the December?
All
Aye.
Oh, okay. Yeah, are we ready? Did I get a second on the motion?
Yes, yes.
Okay, all in favor of passing the November minutes?
Yes, I.
Aye.
Yep.
All in favor?
Yes.
It's yeah, it's just hard for me to hear all of you guys. Yeah, for these purposes. Maybe somebody in the room could do the roll call if on the bills or you know, because it's like there's a lag. Okay, Bronwyn, take it away.
Well, I'm going to introduce Kristen. She's here as the person of the staff member of the month. And I don't want to keep her any longer than this.
Hang out. I've never been to a trustees meeting.
It's very exciting. I think you should stay. A lot of highlights.
You periodically, so you don't fall asleep.
It's just so good to see you out and about because I never see you anymore.
Yeah, they keep in the back now.
It's true. Sometimes I don't even know you're there. You're behind the bookcase.
Yeah.
So Kristen has been with us 20 years.
20 years
this-
next month.
this
We'll have a
month,
party.
Next month.
So you and Sharon are the
Yeah.
only ones who were here when I came.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's had a variety of jobs, most notably circulation supervisor, and now she's something that's called librarian 1, which doesn't tell you really anything, but maybe you can give a description of your
what I-
roles.
Well, you know, it's funny, I started here more than 20 years ago as a volunteer book mender. And then somebody retired and I applied for the job at the circ desk. I did that and then did for 5 years, I guess, and then 7 as search supervisor, and now it's been about another 5 as librarian 1. So I do cataloging, collection development, materials processing, adult programming, which I'm going to talk about, and home delivery. And I do have to say, home delivery is my favorite part of my job. I love it. I did it today, every Wednesday at 3 o'clock. I head out and I deliver to the homebound. So it's very rewarding.
Do you go in and interact?
Yes, oh yeah, yeah, I've had my regulars, I've had some of them, I've had from the beginning. I started doing home deliveries, I think in 2012. So one of my longest term, the reason I started that doing it, anyway, was Charlene Jackson. Does anybody know?
I
Chief
do remember her,
Jackson,
yeah.
yeah, mother.
Oh, who's her mother?
Yeah, his mother became homebound and she's what we call a super user. She reads literally 5 books every week. And so she could continue to make use of us and super good for our statistics. I said, you know what, I will bring the books to you. And so she passed away just this past year, which was sad, but she was great, wonderful. She was very, very sharp to the end. And she was in her late 90s. So that is what I do. Oh, adult programming. So
So
You-
Chris,
Yes.
how many do we have? How many people do you deliver to?
well, I have to say,
They're dying
We've lost a few,
Are they
lost
dying
quite a
out?
few. Yes,
just in the last year.
yes, some
Yeah,
of my favorites.
yeah.
So right now, today I had 3 deliveries. I used to be closer to anywhere 6 to 8 every week.
Maybe we'll sign up.
Yeah,
Please do.
I'm almost ready.
the time is coming.
Well, we were talking about it not long ago, and we hadn't really thought, we mostly think of it as an elderly person who's no longer driving, but it
Right.
could also be someone who's, injured themselves or has, some
Or just
kind
had
of
a
illness.
baby.
or just had a
something,
baby,
you know?
Or, it could be any age person, or, a mother with young children who can't get out of the house, that, we could bring them materials, so. Trying to think of other ways
A
to-
mother with young children is dying to get out of the house, and she's in the children's
So
room.
maybe it's just a nice option to have,
Yeah.
to say, it doesn't have to even be every week, and someone could just call Kristen and say, I'm stuck in the house.
I
could
do
you
get
drop
those,
in?"
yeah. I just
uh,
had another one who just, yeah, she was homebound. She was having leg problems and
Yeah,
couldn't walk for a few weeks. And so I would bring to her.
yeah, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
So-
Sandwich from Fresh Feast. Is
Yeah. Add some food.
Right? On your way, picking up a little something from French Mill. Great. So one thing I want to talk to you about is, we have our tiny art show coming up.
Oh, I saw that, yeah.
So what we're going to be doing starting February 1st, but I'm happy to pass them out now. And I told the circulation desk too, if anybody asks at the desk, just give them the materials. These little 4x4 canvases. And you can decorate them with any medium you want. It doesn't matter. I think I'm not artistic at all, so I'm gonna collage mine. I think Ashley said she was gonna do needlework on hers. So anything you want to
There you go.
do, but if you're interested in painting, we can provide the paints and little palettes. So, and this is for all ages in the community. It is not judged. It's not a competition. It's
No
just
prize?
for fun. It's a winter activity. And so starting March 1st, we'll be showing them on the lower shelving in the middle of the library where we
They come with
have.
little easels.
Yeah, they come with
mini
little easels.
So each one has its own easel. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's cool.
and mid-March, I think it's March 12th, we're going to have a little artist reception. So I'm hoping to, get the whole community engaged. If
That's
anybody's
cool.
got
I think that's a great
kids,
idea.
have your kids do it, it's all ages. And I just think it'll be really fun, sort of an all ages program.
So could you drop some of those off to the senior center just so that they have them there, or is everybody really?
Yeah, come here, but I can do the senior center.
Uh-huh.
Or 60 Elm, I'll definitely drop some off at 60 Elm. They tend to be more
Housebound,
housebound
yeah.
over there.
People who go to the senior center can get around.
Oh,
What are the ideas?
I also wanted to, the tea of the month. This is Jen's program. It's very interesting. Somebody can pass me around. This, I've never heard of gin matcha.
No?
And it's a Japanese, it's a green tea, but it's also like a rice tea. Really? That's really
Those are the
interesting.
same.
Yeah, they're all the
Should heat up
same.
some water and I'll have a cup here. Keep us
Yeah.
warm, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Green tea's supposed to be great for your mind.
Sure, this is boss.
Yeah, that's for you.
Awesome.
That's for you guys.
I've already
Try it out.
Pass it to them.
What are the ideas?
Me, but I've stolen it from other libraries who have done it. I don't know.
Is one of these for us?
Yeah, Yeah.
Definitely.
Whatever you want.
You
don't have to.
I flunked art, so this is my second chance.
Yeah. I took my
I think I
canvas
picked the
home.
wrong night to have a cold. You guys are making out over there with the canvases and the tea. I'm missing it.
I'm
We
gonna
can
do
save some
needlepoint
for
on
you.
that.
We can use some.
She's homebound, we can bring it to you.
Needlepoint on that.
Kristen knows where to find you.
Got it. Catherine made me a pie.
Nice.
Long story, but it was very good.
I hope
Yeah.
everybody loved it and that you had a fun time.
And this crust especially got lots of raves. They thought you should make cookies, like sugar cookies from.
Oh, out of the pie crust. I thought I rolled it a little too thin, but it looked pretty.
It was delicious. And I also have a book group that I just started a couple months ago called the Gentle Reads Book Group, and this is to help us get through these kind of cold times, uncertain times. And so basically what we're reading, gentle reads or feel-good books that don't require a whole lot of heavy thought. And when you're finished, you just felt like you had a good reading experience. So this month, we're reading Bill Bryson's In the Sunburned Country. This is where it's our first nonfiction one, where he tours Australia. And this came out 20 years ago. I read it when it came out. I read it again, loved it just as much. And it's amazing what you learn from this book. There's so much about Australia. He mentions time and again, it's sort of the forgotten country. You don't really think about it very much because it's so far away. Excellent.
Unless you happen to be going there in 2 weeks.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so.
Well, you gotta read the book then.
I know, I'm writing it
Oh
down.
my gosh.
And you'll
Yes.
have a long plane ride.
That's right.
And he's such a funny
He's funny, he
writer.
really is. Yeah.
So good. So
Yes.
he's
Yeah.
self-deprecating. He's fabulous.
Yeah. Yeah.
So our meeting, if anybody, we have copies out at the front desk, wants to join us. It's next Monday and we have 2 different meeting times. We have 2 p.m. and 6 p.m.
And the numbers are great.
They're great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
It's really hit a nerve that this is something that people are really interested
Yeah.
in, is something, comforting and
Mhm.
non-threatening.
Not
I
really
guess.
at all, right. So we had 14, 15
wow.
at the 2 o'clock. That's a larger session, but then we're getting people who work during the day
Mhm.
at our 6 o'clock one. Oh, and we have a young mother with a baby, Tyler, that she brings too, because her husband's home to take care of the other 2 boys, and so she gets out of the house, she's new to town from North Carolina, she's fabulous. So she's been a great addition too.
What's the age range?
Mostly retirees, but I will say anywhere, I don't know how old Heather is, I think she's probably in her 30s, mid-30s, all the way up to probably 90.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's great.
And how many people? I'm sorry.
Altogether, 20 combined.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, both
That's good
groups.
for a book group.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it's very good.
Is this one available
This
or?
one is, yeah, you can check it out. Yep.
Thank you.
And then next month for Valentine's month, we're going to be reading Writers and Lovers by Lily King. And this is a nice book and it all takes place in Cambridge, at Harvard Square. So good local color.
So I'm just curious, when you do your search, do you pull up then like nice reads? easy reads,
Gentle reads.
Gentle reads?
But the one we did last month was called Miss Benson's Beetle. And it was on all these lists for being a gentle read. If you were to look at it, it was pink and orange covered with the silhouette of 2 sort of middle-aged women on it. And it looked like a gentle read. Well, it wasn't.
Oh.
And it was very good. It was more literary fiction. It was a little heavy. I found it stressful to read because all these things kept happening. But it was very popular. They all loved it, even though we all agreed it wasn't technically a gentle read. I guess that was 2 months ago because last month was a gentle read, almost too gentle. What would I would call a cozy read? It was a Fanny Flagg Redbird Christmas.
You know,
one.
wait.
Yeah. So it's kind of hard, but I've read this one before. I consider this a gentle read. I felt good when I finished it. It was like, oh, it was a satisfying read. And same with Bill Bryson, anything by Bill Bryson, I really enjoy.
So no nickel boys in that group.
No. Literary fiction we're kind of gonna stay away from. Just a little too heavy.
Yeah.
Too many brain cells. I don't want to waste them right now. So if anybody has questions, I have questions for you guys.
Excellent.
Wow.
Curious.
All right, and you guys can throw these, your answers out, that's fine. But I was just wondering, what has been the most rewarding part of being a trustee for you?
Oh, this is an essay question.
Is this multiple choice?
Jumps out in your tenures.
I would say for me, being a newer person, is just seeing the growth and the enthusiasm and the initiative to come up with new programming, capturing different audiences. So it's just the pleasantness when you walk in, a friendly face.
See, I don't consider you a newer one.
Say that too, yeah.
Compared to some other people, I mean, but I do see a trajectory, and it's an upward trajectory, and it's really,
Definitely.
it's wonderful.
I totally agree. I think I probably had the same answer for any of the town boards or anything else that I've participated in, which is, you make connections and relationships with other people in town who you might not have encountered otherwise. Who you might not line up with as peers, with your kids being the same age, or, being in the same sort of workspace or something like that. So, I mean, for me, that's probably the most rewarding part.
I think it's important in a very electronics world to celebrate what a library provides.
Mhm.
And we're not sitting there slashing everybody up online.
Oh, yeah. Right.
So
And I do consider libraries to be a pillar of democracy. And I like to tell people that I'm defending my little corner of democracy at the library.
Yeah.
not that that's important now.
I'll use that third space. Part of the discussion, that you're not at work, you're not at home, but it's a community building
Yeah,
space.
yeah.
And I think that, to your point, the evolution of, in the time that I've been here, I think we've really moved the needle far from book depository to community space.
Yes,
And that's been fun to be a part of.
it has too, but it hasn't been like a sudden change. You can
Yeah,
really,
yeah,
it's just
it's been
very
gradual.
gradual, sort of ease it all in over that way, and I think the energy level is so much higher, and I think more
Oh, yeah.
enjoyable in the
Mhm.
library
Definitely.
than it used to be.
Is that pretty much the story with all the libraries today, that
Yes.
they've all moved into the community?
Yes,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
And given up the books, so to speak.
Yeah.
Or the,
So we still,
the focus
that's
on
the
the
thing, is
books.
you have to provide just a wider breadth of opportunities for people. Whereas it used to be focusing on materials only.
Yeah,
Now we have art shows, and we have way we're trying to bring the community in and reach out to people, and so it's just become more as expected
yeah.
to stay relevant.
And I think too, connectivity with other people is becoming more and more important to people, and
Right.
that's for mental health reasons and everything, and so we're able to provide that as well, which is nice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, my last question. What type of library events or programs do you most enjoy attending?
Oh, the trustees meeting.
Yeah, right?
That's a safe answer.
My daughter loves it's not me, but my daughter loves like the teen meetings. where they like decorate a cupcake.
Yes,
or
right.
Yeah.
She
all
does a
that
lot
stuff.
of fun things.
Yeah.
The waffle one.
Yeah,
Is it
that's funny,
waffle?
yeah.
And I'm excited for her, like to
Yeah.
go and do them. So I think I love all the kids and that other age. I like that preteen, teenage.
Yeah,
stuff,
getting them
yeah.
in the
But
door.
that's how you get a
Yeah.
lifelong library user, is if they
Yes.
have these great associations at a
mhm.
young age. Then they always think of the library as a place to come and
Yeah.
continue to come.
Yeah, it's not a scary place.
It's not a scary
Mhm.
place, it's welcoming and it's fun.
Yeah,
The old soul in me still loves a good author talk,
right,
Uh,
yes.
but I also liked the craft things.
Yeah, oh, you know,
Small
Gail's
thing.
coming back, right?
Oh, I did not.
Yeah, that's,
Yes.
it's on the down low, but yeah, I think
Yes,
it's
coming back.
she's.
As what?
yes.
As what, yeah.
As
Craft
our
After Dark.
Craft After Dark, our crafting volunteer.
Oh, my
She's
goodness.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
She's retired and needed something.
To do.
Yeah, we knew this
She's
would
never been a
happen.
sit still kind of person, and so, yeah, I was wondering how long it would be before she'd have to do something.
That's so
So,
nice.
Yeah.
She still had a lot of supplies up in the upper area, and so she came the other day and was going through it all to try to figure out what she could do, and
Oh,
it's
that's
gonna be
fun.
great.
Good
Yeah,
for her,
you know,
that's
I
awesome.
really-
Good for
Yeah.
you guys for getting her back.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. Well,
As a
it's
volunteer,
a
no
win-win.
less.
Yeah. Exactly, it's a win-win, so.
Well, she comes to my book group, so.
Oh,
it's
That's great.
Strong arming.
That she comes to Gentle Ridge?
Yep.
Oh, that's so
Oh.
great.
So. All right.
Well,
Well,
thank you,
I-
Kristen.
Well, before you leave though, I have a story about coming to the library and it was Jennifer who really saved me. I mean, I will tell you, the staff today is so knowledgeable about everything. Everything. They're so, it's amazing. I had a tech problem with a speaker that somebody talked me into bidding on at an auction. And I couldn't get it hooked up. I came in and Jen just took me through the steps and she was fantastic.
Good.
Yeah.
I love her. She's got such a nice.
I thought I was gonna have
Yes,
to
yeah.
hire, what's his name? I've got somebody that I hired, Tom, I'm really stuck.
Oh, Tom Campbell?
Yeah.
I was gonna suggest.
No,
Tom Campbell.
I had Tom with a PC, but
Oh, this is a different. thing.
this is the Apple guy, this is a different guy for Apple.
Different Tom.
I forget his name now, but and Howard or something, Howie.
Well, you're not gonna get him if you can't remember
But,
his name.
but if you ever have a problem, Jen is
Yes.
the way to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think all of them are super
Yeah.
techie, very helpful. I find McKenna's really knowledgeable.
Yeah, McKenna was in on it and then she got, she had to be at the desk and
Mhm.
That's
She
our
left
biggest
us.
problem, is that we don't, at this point in time, have a dedicated person. It used to be Bridget was the tech librarian, and so everyone is expected to step up if someone comes in. The problem is if you're the only person on the desk and someone comes in with a complicated issue, then they have to come back another time because you just can't, we
Right,
can't,
right.
the priority is the desk, so we're trying to work on ways of having people available. So we have 2 teen volunteers from the high school. They're honor society kids and they're wonderful. And Faisal works on Saturdays and Rex is, I think, 2 afternoons a week, so they come in and then Jen does hours down at the senior center on Wednesdays.
She goes to the senior center
She's
for
at the
tech help.
Senior Center for Tech Help, yeah, so people know for sure.
So
There's certain times that they
People who
know.
belong to the senior center, why can't we get them to come here for tech help?
It's more of just an outreach type of thing, but, they do come here if
They
it's
do.
not, if it's not hours that Jen is gonna be there. Yeah, which is, they only wanted her one Wednesday a month, so she's only down there once a month. The
Mhm.
rest of the time she's here.
It's a good way of promoting the
Mhm.
service.
Yeah. and
You know,
it's
she's
getting out
she's
in the
there, and then
community.
they can thank the other,
Business
300
cards,
hours a
they
month.
can- Yeah, if she can't help them, then they can make an appointment, or at least they know about it, and she said, well, if it's not. If you should have something that comes up on an off time when I'm not here, come over to the library and I can help you, so kind of a good way to spread the word, I guess. So,
Mhm.
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
it's nice,
Okay,
nice.
so it's a good
Kristen, I compliment you. I'm coming with some questions. We should,
Go.
you're the first person to do that. We should have more of those.
Did you guys get your
I
chance?
feel like I'm passing the roles.
Are you guys gonna do some mini art? I thought they were.
Yeah.
I might send it to my daughter-in-law.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be an adult
I
one.
might take something from my.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah, that'd be
definitely.
really
Well,
do
not
that.
all as
Yeah,
creative as you are.
absolutely.
I'm not creative, but I work excited when I'm doing.
Tons of them.
Plenty, so.
Yeah,
You got-
yep, we've got
The
plenty.
State Farm kids, you know, they have their meeting right now, my son's in that, they might be interested.
They are, yes, I was gonna, have Nicole. Have with some of the other things that I do.
Oh, great.
Cool.
Well,
Thank
I'm
you
just
so
gonna
much,
hang out.
Kristen.
Okay.
Oh, good. Okay, awesome. All right, well, let's move on. It's strange since we didn't meet last month. We have a lot of things that have happened in the meantime. I'm just gonna go through the report kind of quickly because there's a couple of things that may take a little more discussion. I think we've already mentioned that we have an IT person that's gonna come, dedicated time. Angela's already got a big long list of things that we need him to adjust or install for us. So I think that's gonna be really wonderful and keep us up to speed. There's nothing more frustrating than trying to print something or download something and it's not working because of an IT issue. So he's gonna be a great resource. We've been working on different displays and Steve got me thinking about podcasts and there's this great podcast through NPR, which is the Book of the Day. And so I've been kind of, it's great, it's just a little blurb, sometimes it's 2 books comparing different things and it just has a little, it's not necessarily even new books. But there's like, so when Jimmy Carter died, they were talking about different Jimmy Carter books and what each one of them brings. And so I've been kind of putting them on display with the cutting out you can print out the description and see if that kind of, triggers people's interest. I think one of the biggest problems we have is people don't know, what do I read next? Or what's out there? And, we do post things like, the top books from the New York Times or something like that, but if you're just looking at titles, it's sort of overwhelming to know, like, well, what is that all about? Or what kind of, what is that genre, that kind of thing. So, maybe that will help. We're also, they were gonna do, I think it's a book talk, the TikTok has book talk. I think that they were posting that as well, and some, the top 25 books of the year and that sort of thing. So, we'll see. I think, circulation was up last month because compared to last year, we were closed for 2 weeks. So an easy month to top it, but, we have seen that, as everywhere, streamable things or downloadable things have been increasing and physical books are a little bit slower, although I think maybe with the new configuration, do you think with the new items, we intersperse the red hot reads with the new books so that if you're going to look for something new, you just go to one place. I don't know if it's made a difference. It was only been about a month or so we'll have to see.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah, I like it that it looks fuller. It seemed for a while, the new books were kind of empty.
Right, yeah, I
And
noticed that too.
we did change our policy.
Yes.
So OCLN had encouraged all the libraries to not do local holds as much. So that the books would be not just sitting on the shelf, that they would go out. And if you put a hold on a book that we own and you're a Cohasset resident, you get first priority for the hold. However, that means that you've got to go and put a hold on whatever it is you want. You can't just go into the library and get it. So we've kind of talked it over and Kristen suggested that we change it so that we're having local holds on our new items, not for too long,
Couple
couple of weeks.
just to give our walk-in patrons a chance to see what's new.
And there's
what we
nothing
have.
worse than, you read the New York Times or the Globe book review and I want to get that, and you go in and it's not there.
Right.
And you have to put a hold on it and wait a couple of weeks, even if you're first in line, if it's out,
Mhm.
someone has it. you have to hope that they bring it back
Right.
on time, you know, so it could be at least a few weeks.
I see a
so.
lot of the libraries have local holds on.
They-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
technically none of us are supposed to, but I think everybody realized the same
If you go
thing.
online, that's what you see.
Oh, well, when we order books, they automatically go on local holds, that's just, but
Oh,
then when we receive the books.
and
we're
that's
supposed
true
to
of
swap
everybody.
it over,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
But some libraries, Hingham doesn't swap over, so I went to their library a couple weeks ago. And I was wowed by how many current new books they have just available on their shelf, and I realized, oh, I came back and checked, they are keeping
Because they
them
keep it
local
local.
holds.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to be doing.
Yeah.
But every week or two, I go through the list. If something's just been sitting there for 2 weeks, I release it right away. But I do find a lot of them have been checked out, the local holds, to
Mhm.
walk-in patrons.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm all about rewarding the walk-in patrons as
Absolutely,
much as
absolutely.
possible.
And I do think in this town, if we don't have something, people will just order it on Amazon or
Yes.
something, you know,
Yeah.
it just, we've lost them as a checkout, if we don't have it.
Mm.
Or they
At
go
least,
to
you know,
Button
right away. So,
We
Um,
wish, yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's a
Yeah,
good system.
yeah.
As long as we don't keep them local holds for too long,
Yeah,
because that's the other thing is if we're
right.
just hoarding it and nobody else can use it or can
Right,
get it.
right,
that
then we
doesn't-
lose
then
the
we lose
circ
our
that way, so it
circulation.
is,
So,
it's a balance.
Yeah, so we'll see what comes of that, but. I don't know if you guys have been clicking on the links, but Allison's been doing some fantastic little videos.
She's so comfortable in front of the camera.
He is so good.
She's,
Yeah.
yeah, she does, you know, people,
Come on in.
yeah, I know, she makes it, she's so relaxed and welcoming
Yeah.
and some of the other librarians will suggest things, you know, she'll send out a message, you know, do you have anything you want to talk about? And, you know, sometimes people will be like, oh, I have this program, or can you, you know, highlight some book or something, but a lot of it, she comes up on her own, and Adam is super chill, and he just comes in and they, doesn't even take that long to videotape it, but it's great, so. She may start going forward, trading off with other staff members, we'll see, we're gonna tweak it, but I thought they're great, and we do have it right on our website too, because he gives us the link so that we can access it that way. Jen's gonna start doing more Thursday night programming. That was always, Gail always worked Thursday nights, and it became kind of a expectation that we would have something on Thursday nights, so she it looked at my thinking that maybe a good idea to offer things on Thursday, so she'll be working Thursday nights. In the past, she was here Wednesday nights, but I think that would be nice to have another night. We have garlic cooking demonstration tomorrow. Anybody's interested in that? Yeah. And then we've got the tiny art show, so which you already are fully up to speed on that one. Finance. I was saying that everything was all set and stuff, right? But now Angela just told me that
Not yet.
some of the numbers are still not squared away. It's all mostly about they're crediting funds incorrectly. And so apparently the CLT had sold some of their returns this year so that they could give it to us when we asked for it, and it was put into our accounts prematurely. So all of a sudden $50,000 showed up and we didn't know where it came from. That was one thing. The gift account was wrong. That was supposedly they fixed that. I don't know, but the upshot is we have to keep really good records, and that's what we're trying to do. We know what we have. Because it's just, there's been a fair amount of turnover. There isn't still, as far as I know, a permanent town accountant. They do have consultants that they hired to help with it, but I think if you really need someone that works for the town, that knows the ins and outs, so hopefully that will get improved. We're working on the endowment, take out the different funds have to be recorded when we buy materials. for the ones that are restricted, so. Got that all set, and then budget season is starting up, and so I made up a little sample budget to talk through with you guys. It's really, what we basically did was just reallocate for the most part. Let me see if I have a copy of it. The other one. So, as I said in my report, Chris asked that we could just level, I don't know if I'm getting that, sorry about that.
Same thing.
One for myself. Chris asked that we do level services, no, I got one here, I knew that, thank you though. Which doesn't necessarily mean level budget, it just means to continue to maintain the same level of services. But he implied that there's not a lot of money out there to ask for big increases, so. On the spreadsheet here, I've got what we had last year, which was a total of 820,000, and then, I broke down what the different accounts, were, and basically, we've kind of just tweaked things a little bit. I dropped the technology a little and increased our book budget because we still have to maintain our materials expenditure and our municipal appropriation, and it's still underfunded.
I was gonna
to
say,
meet the-
it feels to me like you haven't increased it enough.
Well,
It's so small, yeah.
well, it is, but however, the endowment monies, some of those funds can only be spent for materials, about $25,000 of the current returns. If that goes down, if the market crashes and we're only getting less, then that may change. So for now, we have to spend at least 25,000
But
of
what's
those funds.
what's our MAR, the MERS and MARS were like over 150,000, as I recall, right?
Last year, so that,
They changed, yeah.
it gets complicated, but so because of the size of our library, size of our town is under 10,000, and so that means normally you'd have to spend 19% of your total municipal budget on materials. However, since we're open so many hours, open 56 hours a week, you can match up with the size of the town or city that has that as a requirement. So that means we only need 15% of our total budget. So the total last year, I think of the 15% was something like in the $130,000 range. This year, if we increase the budget, obviously that will go up. I'm happy to meet the 19%. I think that's the spirit of what they'd like us to do, and we do have the funds to do that, but to meet the bare minimum, it's less.
It's fine,
It's
yeah.
fine, yeah, so,
Hmm.
yeah, so I think smaller increments, we can keep going up, but there's gonna be a point where we don't really need to, because we don't need to spend 200,000,
No.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
So,
agree. As a taxpayer, I agree.
yeah.
As a library trustee, boost it up
Yes,
there.
and well, as everybody knows, the overdrive
Over.
books are so expensive.
Yeah.
And Sharon's Wonder books that you can't keep them on the shelves, basically, they're so popular, but they're very, very expensive as well, so. Things are, there's a high cost to even just to maintain the same level of materials, it's expensive, so.
So I was thinking that instead of 110, that we should do 112, because then next year we can ask for 120.
Okay.
Just an idea.
Okay, well, yeah,
In the spirit of having the town more responsible for
And
the materials, because
it is a requirement of us to
they don't
stay
cover,
certified.
yeah, they don't
need
cover
to-
any of our programming, and that
Yes.
then we
Yeah.
could, potentially use some of our CLT gift money
Right,
to take pressure off the friends
right.
of the
Okay.
program.
I'm totally on board with that. We increased supplies from 8,000 to 10,000. It's just, the cost of just copy paper, as Angela will tell you, she spends a lot of
No, I
time
got
trying to look for
deal.
bargains.
Yeah.
But then a bargain paper, it sometimes is not a bargain because it, jams in the machine and things like that. Or it was purple.
It was purple.
W.B. Mason gave us a
That's
like
the
a
only-
equivalent
Yeah.
paper, and it was not, it was literally like grayish purple.
It was probably
It looked
recycled,
terrible,
yeah.
yeah, so we thought we should probably boost that up a little bit. The OCLN assessment went down slightly, they agreed to contribute as a one-time, so Eastern Nazarene closed, we lost one of the members, and so OCLN is gonna make up the difference, just for this year, so we've got lucky there. We increased marketing. Marketing has never been funded enough, because to do the paper newsletter, it's $2,000 a quarter to print it. So we've always had $8,000. That doesn't even include any other kind of marketing that we want to do, banners or flyers or anything else. So, and the postage, although we usually charge that to the postage, but, or anything else we want to do. So we think that we really need to boost it up, at least that way it'll be funded. And then the only other thing that I added some, a little bit of monies to, I'd really like to encourage the staff to go to more library conferences, meetings, educational opportunities, get out of this library, go out and see what's going on in the larger world, and you get great ideas from meeting other people and you're just seeing what there is. So I went from $500 to $1,000. It's not that much more. I don't think the town is there's something going on in Vegas coming up. The town is gonna fly anybody to Vegas, but there are things that know in the Cape. There's been some different conferences and different things, so it would be kind of a nice
That's
opportunity.
really valuable.
I really
for
think
this
so
staff,
too.
Because they also will find affirmation in what they do.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah,
they'll probably
right, yeah.
get good
It's-
feedback, like, oh, you do.
And it just gives you a burst of energy and
Yeah.
enthusiasm and creativity to go out and see what else is going on out there and what people are doing, so. Those are my suggestions. The next column, talked to Megan today. And we chronically, I feel like we really, our biggest gap in our staffing is we don't have a second in command. And we're open 56 hours a week. I work 35. There's a lot of time when there isn't anybody in charge. And then, like I went to Maine this weekend to see my brother. I was getting emails all weekend from people about things that were going on. It's just part of the job, but it's a gap. Every other department in town has an assistant director.
And there's no one on staff who could step up.
Well, all the other positions are union positions, and that's not part of their job description. So,
When you can't change those job descriptions.
it would have to be negotiated through the union, and then there's always the question of, when Kristen was circulation supervisor, technically, if you're in the union together, you're not supposed to be supervising someone who's in your union, you know what I mean? So it's a challenge. It really needs to be someone outside of the union, a management position. In a lot of libraries, what they do is they have the position as an assistant director and technology librarian as one, which would really solve
Two problems.
two problems. So I don't think there's gonna be much appetite for getting another person, because of the finances of the town this year. But I also feel like it's important to continue to put it out there and say, this is really a need that we have. I'm spend a lot of time dealing with staffing issues, administrative stuff. I don't have a lot of time to do bigger issue things. And so I think it would be a great addition to the library, and I think it would really help. The staff doesn't know if something happens and it's a time when I'm off or I'm on vacation, who's in charge of it?
So
usually falls on
maybe-
Angela, used to fall on me,
I mean, yeah.
you know, or.
It's like
you know,
time it was
become the
Gail.
mom of the.
So you'd be in
For a
charge,
time,
just as
Gail, when
Bronwyn was in charge
Jackie
when Megan.
was,
Mhm.
was here, Gail was the backup plan that time, so that.
It may have been like an informal kind of thing.
Just
I don't
make
think
it
that
up.
it was
I
anything,
did.
it certainly was, it's not in the job description. and
Mhm.
Kristen can answer that better, but. So then, you know, Megan and I had talked about, well, if this doesn't go through, maybe there's some way to do like a stipend situation where, you know, if I'm gone for a week. Once in a while, I like to go on vacation, you know, that someone could be designated to be in charge. And maybe that could be Angela or Jen or somebody like that who can manage the whole, anything that comes up.
Well,
So
I
that's
think
another
maybe a
option.
good idea might be to also keep kind of a log of the examples of when. You know, you're not present and these kinds of things have come
And what
up.
kinds of
And,
things come
and what
up.
are those things?
Yeah.
So kind of keep a paper trail,
Yeah.
so to speak,
Yeah.
of those
Yeah,
incidents, because just to say you need, you know, the library, I don't think have we ever had an assistant director?
I don't think so, but you know,
So-
like, the senior center has an assistant.
I'm not saying,
They're only open
I'm
like
not saying.
4.5 days a week, you
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like, I
It's a
mean,
little
every department
different,
has.
I'm not
an
saying that
assistant
it's not
director.
justified, I'm just
Yeah.
saying, if you came to me and said, I need that, and I'm like, this library's perfect. It
Everything
runs
works
like a
fine.
dream. You've never had somebody, so are you not doing your job?
I know, well, that's, you know,
You know?
that is the implication, however, you know, I think if, you know, and we had a long discussion with Megan about it today, and she's like, you know, you answer to, liaison with 3 boards. You know, that's a lot of work in itself, preparing
Mhm.
reports, doing the work of what the different groups need. Yeah, and the amount of time that we're open and that there isn't anyone
Right.
else that.
And I think always it's like something happens on my street and with the school buses or somebody not doing, I always say, oh, that's a school bus stop. The kids are out there. We need to have, you know, somebody. So I would tie it also into security issues.
Sure, yeah, yeah.
Because if,
I mean,
you know,
it's-
these
yeah,
things
that's a-
come up and then who's
Yeah, absolutely,
responsible?
yeah. I mean, it's,
So when Jackie was here and when Megan was here, how did that?
Ron,
No, we
It was
brought,
fine.
everybody.
Ron
brought
went
it.
there.
Yeah.
That's just, she learned everything. Yeah.
Trial by fire.
I'm not the kind of person that's like, that's not my job, or I can't, you know, I just
Right.
don't like to be like that. So if someone came to me and needed help or had asked for my opinion, I would answer. I probably should have said, you know, it's not in my job description, and then the need would be would have been more glaring, but, you know.
But then you wouldn't be library director.
But then, that's probably right.
Everything happens for a
So,
reason.
yeah, exactly, but, I just, you know, the budget time only comes around once a year, I think it's a good, at least
think
to
it's
ask
excellent.
for it, ask for it, and, you know, we can say no, and we'll manage, we've always have, but.
They'll just
Um,
continue to come to me and I'll make stuff
Well,
up.
just- yeah.
What's happening?
I know, I know.
In the Bronwyn training program.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. It really is. So in 20 years, I'll be the director.
Oh, yeah, I am full. So 20 years, we got our director. right?
Yes, that's
You guys
right.
decide. Ron's like, if you think I'm gonna be here in 20 years.
It's 20 years. That's exactly right. But so those are the different columns, and I think I will, as if everyone agrees with the numbers, present the larger number, and if it gets cut, then we'll be funded enough to cover what we need, so. It's gonna be a long process. I've also got a capital budget, meeting on Monday, about the staff computers, which I feel like I've been talking about computer requests to capital budget for a year and a half. But I have to justify why we need it.
Does that need to be in this technology line?
No, that's coming out of capital budget funds.
Okay.
Yeah, that's totally separate. And so it won't affect, we'll still have the technology money for other things that we need within the library. So I don't think there'll be any problem. It's and the IT department has told us we have to get new computers because they won't support Windows 11. That's how old they are. we were able to save $3,000 from last year's capital budget for the patron computers, so I'm talking to them about reallocating that 3,000 to this year's request, which means it will only be asking for about $9,700 or something, so. I'd be surprised if they said no, since we'd be in big trouble if we don't get them this year.
Do they understand that?
They
I
do
mean,
understand
Do
it.
they really understand what will
Yes,
happen?
yes,
if
and
we
that's
don't
what,
have
so Monday,
updated-
that's what I'm gonna.
I mean, this is
that's
the
my-
knowledge
My
place.
chance to talk about it, so, yeah, I mean, we, like I've said so many times, we really should be on the cutting edge of
Yeah,
technology, and yet it seems like, we're kind of behind the times quite often. I do know that, IT is also asking at capital budget for, not just for here, but other departments for Wi-Fi access point improvements, which would be big, that's a big problem here. I think if you're down in the periodicals room, you can't get anything, the break room, this area, sometimes it doesn't work, so that wouldn't be until after July 1st, but hopefully that will go through. The other one is the security camera group request. Apparently the schools needed some upgrades, and so then other departments, senior center, a few other departments have asked for security cameras. It's now mushroomed into this huge giant request, which is really, I think, it's too much money. I don't think the town has the funds this year. So I don't think we're gonna get it this year, but I'm gonna request it anyway because I want it, it was Jackie, I remember working with Jackie and
definitely,
talking
yeah.
about security cameras. And especially, I
It was
really
after
thought-
the little girl got,
Yes, not here, but yeah.
With developmental challenges was walked
Met
out
the
of
guy
the
came
Sharon
and, yeah,
library or
yeah,
something.
yeah, exactly. And we've had bikes stolen, there's a playground right there, we've got music circus. People use the lot all the time, there's always stuff going on, it's just, I hope we never would need them, but it's a safety issue, I really feel like it's important. So I'm gonna go ahead with the request, I feel like they probably won't approve it this year. But I feel it's important to get it out there that we want this, and we'll see what happens, but Ted from Rec is doing it with me, because it's for the building. Other than that, we already just talked about the carpet, but I'll just do a quick little review. We've got an updated quote for the children's room carpet from the original vendor. I've also reached out to another one who's on the state approved list, and they're gonna come by. I don't know when, they've been kind of sporadic. And we're gonna have the building committee come in and look as well with them when they come.
Is it easy to find that state approved list?
I got it from Michelle.
Okay,
So she just gave me two names. I reached out to both the companies, one replied. They called me, I called them back, I talked to the two different guys, they're really nice and seem very helpful. But they are in Western Mass, and so they said they cover the whole state, so, but just getting them to, what they wanna do is have a job here, and then they'll swing by and have it, and take a look, and give us the number. The other building issue that I've been asked a couple of times to bring up by the staff is the shades. They don't really block the sun at all. And especially this time of year, the sun comes straight in. It actually weirdly goes right on at the circ desk, and the person sitting in the right-hand seat has the sun in their eyes for a solid, what would you say, half hour or something? You cannot see anything. And we've had meetings here and the sun's here and this comes through. Hopefully, maybe we can talk about options. I don't know how expensive shades are. I don't know really much about them at all, and what we would want to put up.
Maybe we can paint them with some black.
I know, I mean, they look nice, they really do, and it's nice that, if they're down at night, you can still see that there's light, that there's stuff going on here. But they don't really work, and people have complained because if you're on your computer and the sun's coming in, you can't work. So, I don't know what the answer is, obviously, I would assume that it would be something a little more light blocking, but I think you probably have to change out the whole units, I don't think you could just get different shades and put them in. I know we had a problem with some of the cords on the other part are plastic and they've broken. When I did have a shade guy come in and he said, you can't just change the cords out, you have to change the whole unit. I don't know if that was really true, but that's what he told me. It seemed kind of strange that that would be true, but again, I don't know much about that.
Probably pretty old now, they have.
If they're plastic, yeah, so, I'm happy to look into options, I don't know what you as the building committee feel about that, you as the building committee.
I think
How
it's gonna
many
be very
do you get?
expensive.
So,
Super.
that's a good question, there's probably.
Like, we gotta figure out what's going on with the pavilion, so
Probably
we
like-
know how much money we have
Yeah,
before we even think
that's, I
about
mean,
it.
that has been that's. Unfortunately, because the pavilion's taken so long, a lot of
Yeah.
these things have been sort of on pause and,
Believe me.
I know, I'm not telling anyone anything they don't already know, but, the list is getting longer. But yeah, maybe I can at least find out how many, I think there's probably at least 6 windows along one side and then the other side,
I think,
probably more
I
than
think if
that.
you change a
Yeah.
few, you're gonna have to
Mhm.
change them all,
Mhm.
because they need to look consistent.
Yeah, yeah. That sounds like big bucks,
Mhm.
so. Throwing it out there, there's been a number of complaints, and it is definitely seasonal,
Yeah,
but I guess spring and fall.
and the
It's the
hard
same
thing
thing.
is you really don't want blackout shades. 'Cause
No,
You
no,
want natural light
you're
to
absolutely
come
right.
Maybe
in.
we just
Right.
plant really big trees.
So,
Yeah,
you know,
there's like arborvitae out there, maybe
Yeah.
eventually we get tall enough,
Maybe
Or
we could get
outside
some
shade?
tall indoors.
Well, the
I mean,
pergola will
indoor
help
plants are such a
on that side, yeah.
On this
yeah.
Yeah.
some-
What is
something that
Catherine
kind of-
think? What do you
Think
think?
some indoor
Plants.
plants, maybe.
Yeah, I said maybe if you had, some large scale indoor plants that could be, if you had it on wheels or something, it could be moved around a little bit to help you block it. I don't know.
but then you have
'Cause
modeled
I
light,
mean,
and
I
then it
think
takes
it's,
away the space for
Yeah.
seating.
Yeah, you could get awnings
That's what I just,
on the
yeah, I thought
outside, I
that,
mean,
yeah.
but that's also gonna be expensive.
that's
yeah,
all-
the shades are
yeah.
gonna
But
be
you
a
wouldn't have to
lot.
change the shades everywhere, you could just
Right.
have some
Right, where it's
like
needed.
retractable, what are those
Yeah.
commercials?
Mhm.
With the
They have to be
retractable
electric.
ones.
Yeah, the button ones, yeah, that's
Yeah.
what we need.
Yeah.
Well, I can talk to facilities, maybe they have some ideas, they might, it might be worth asking at least,
Here's a crazy idea.
okay.
Can you
let's
take
hear it.
those and treat them with an ink
How do
that
we
would make
compare
them
that?
opaque?
Paint
Yeah, that's
it.
what Sarah said.
I don't know, I would be a little hesitant to do that.
No, I'm just,
I don't
it's a
know,
question to ask.
yeah. I mean, maybe it's worth getting a person that, a shade person in
Mhm.
and give us.
Or is there a
their
scale
options.
you can put on the glass?
I can ask Nora.
Film on glass.
Oh.
Yeah, but those are usually for heat more than.
It's for,
No,
it's for UV light.
There's a
exactly.
UV
It's for
one,
UV
yeah,
light,
there's a UV,
Actually, that's a
Yeah.
better idea.
that's a better idea. Okay,
Yeah, but that's not gonna change the glare. That's gonna change the UV light coming
But it
in,
might,
but it's
I
not
don't
gonna
know.
change.
It's not gonna change the color.
no, well,
You could find out.
it doesn't hurt to ask.
I have it on my windows at home.
Yeah, so it doesn't
It doesn't-
fade out your.
Yeah,
your
but it
carpets
doesn't,
and things.
it
It
doesn't,
doesn't stop the glare.
no, it's still very bright.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, and then I think the only other thing I have is the policy for the historical room use. I printed out a few copies, but, so Jen and Allison looked at our old policy. It hadn't been revised in 15 years for using this room. I know that we had not long ago redone the study room use and all of that, like a larger room use policy, but this is for specifically using this room. So they looked at different libraries. I think they looked at also what the Library Association recommended. And they came up with a policy that it's very similar to what we had. The only real difference, that we included was that, tutoring can be done in here on a one-on-one basis, as long as one of the people is an adult.
Mhm.
And no food is
But
allowed.
how is that, this is a kind of a closed room, other than, unless you insist on the door being open,
And even then.
you know, it's just.
Well, I think the
Sure.
reason we weren't having people in here though is because we had valuable documents and people, there had been a problem with them getting pilfered.
Yes, there's now all locks on all the cases. Other people do use this room for, work Zoom meetings. You know, just one-on-one meetings, because we just don't have the space, and our study rooms are booked almost all the time. So we've been allowing people to use this room. And so it just feels a little strange to say two people, if just because one person happens to be a young adult, can't meet in this room. And so we just felt like,
Wait, so right now it says that one of the people has to be an adult?
no, right now it says it can't be used for tutoring.
Okay, but the new one will say one has to be an adult.
Exactly, yeah.
And only one on
And
one,
only one-on-one.
so not a
Yeah.
whole class of kids.
Yeah, one time the staff let a brownie troop use the room. It was
No.
not a good
liquids, no
idea,
food.
and it was very messy after the meeting, and
Still
we had
looks
to-
good.
it was not a good idea, so. Lesson learned, that it's gotta be, there's certain purposes, but we do have, everything is inaccessible. We do still have the policy, if someone's coming to do research, they have to sign in, they have to check that the librarians and they're not supposed to, they're in here as language of, we might wanna check your briefcase or something, because they're not necessarily here, but in other places, there's definitely been issues with people taking, although according to Allison, a lot of this stuff is really not valuable, it's more Cohasset related materials.
It's not that it's
necessarily-
valuable so much as it's not replaceable,
Replaceable.
Right,
you know,
Right.
it's.
right,
It was the yearbooks that were going.
Exactly, you know,
Yeah.
it's old stuff that
right.
should be shared, should be a communal.
Absolutely, yeah, there's that little 45, and there's just some
Yeah.
really cool stuff, it's amazing, but it's not necessarily, valuable.
So how often, I know in the YA room, we had this issue that we didn't want tutors meeting in there because we wanted young adults to be able
Right.
to go in and feel like there wasn't
Yeah.
an adult in there. So are you
Yeah.
finding that that's working?
Tutors are still in
still-
there, tutors are still in there, I wouldn't say, they're there all the time, and I think, especially if Allison's got the waffle thing going on or something like that, it's not conducive to tutoring. So I think it's sort of naturally, because she's brought in so many more kids and has so much going on, that it's not really a great place to
Mhm.
tutor. So sometimes they try to tutor in at the round tables where we move the
Mhm.
shelving. And if they're quiet, it's okay. Just can't. People are trying to sit quietly, so you don't want to have very loud conversations. But they're really, this is really the only other room for privacy.
Are there enough people walking by
Mhm.
this hallway that I'm not actually worried about it, but you have to think about like,
Oh, so you
Safety
mean-
issues?
Yeah, yes, all the staff goes through this way to go.
And the door would stay open.
I don't know, I guess we could make that in the policy.
Is that a
Why
solid
would it
door?
need to be closed?
No, it's got
It's got a glass panel,
Yeah.
on that door, yeah, so you can see in easily.
It is, I mean, I was in here at one point and I was reading at a table. I was doing some research and just reading at a table. And a tutor came in and sat down with her student and started
In
tutoring.
here,
No,
oh,
in
in
the
there,
library
Yeah,
proper, and I
yeah.
thought. you
I
know,
know, it's.
I
yeah.
didn't say anything,
Yeah.
but
I mean, we do have now, the periodicals room is a quiet area, no conversation at all is supposed to take place in there, so there is a place that people can go if they really don't want any noise at all. But it's not ideal, you're right, to have, people try to conduct work in the main
It's,
area.
I
in
mean,
the public
because
area.
it's a public place
Yeah,
in the
Yeah,
library.
exactly. So,
So there would be a sign up as well, just like in the meeting, the smaller.
you'd have to reserve the
Uh,
room. We'd have all their information, their email address, their phone numbers, that kind of thing. So, if anything was damaged or just like in any other room, we'd be able to get in touch with them. So it's just another option. I don't think that it would be the first option. Most people choose study room A or B for that kind of purpose.
So when you get right down to it, our official places for this tutoring is study room A, study room B, and then possibly here, and then any
Out-
other
out in
place.
out in the general public.
And
Yeah,
because, yeah, when you think of how many people tutor here,
yeah.
Yeah.
We have people, so you can only book A and B, the day of that you need it.
mhm,
And so we have people that start booking at 12:05 in the morning. They stay up and then book the room. Sometimes people book it at 3 or 4 in the morning. I don't know what those people are doing. I don't quite understand it, but so they, there's a need,
And
so
do they
much
book
so
it for
that
the
people.
whole afternoon
No.
and evening?
No,
No,
it's 2 hour.
So
Do
Do we
just
have
2
the
hours.
same rule for this room?
yeah.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And might we consider, I mean, couldn't 2 tutors work in here at the same time?
They could if
One's at
they
one
were
end of the
okay with
table
it.
and one's at
I
the
was
other
just
end of the
trying to
table?
keep it very limited,
Mhm.
because of, the special nature of the room.
But in a way
But,
that
I
helps
mean,
with
do we-
safety and
That's true.
security of documents
I
and all that.
wonder
kind
if
of
we
stuff.
could word it,
Up to,
What if somebody needs to have their passport done?
so that, we already booked that time ahead. That's
Okay.
already reserved, 3 days a week, we have the passport hours booked, blocked off for here. So, they wouldn't be able to reserve it during that time. There's the part about
Do the schools stay open at all in the afternoon for tutoring?
I haven't had
I
any
would-
children in the school system in a while, so I'm
No, I
not
don't
sure.
think-
I don't know what they do.
They are open for tutoring, yeah.
I don't think
It's
so.
not really
No?
tutoring.
They should be.
have
I don't
o-
think
they
it-
have
In the
office
library at
hours.
school?
They have office hours, right? They would-
Yeah.
the
Teachers-
teachers with the
yeah.
Teachers will have an
yeah,
office
that's
hours.
Most of the
probably
kids
a
try
little
to meet
different,
during
yeah.
a utility block after lunch. And then they like to get out. That's a trend that I've seen.
So it just says the historical room is available for meetings and tutoring sessions with the permission of the library staff. Tutoring is allowed on a one-on-one basis with at least one adult present. And we can change the wording if we think it would be better to allow.
Well, why don't we put some flexibility in so that
Yeah.
it looks, if you, looks like it
Tutoring
could
is
be done,
allowed with
could.
at least one adult present. So it doesn't have to say one-on-one, I mean, that leaves it kind of vague.
Well, I think you want to restrict it so there's not a classroom in here, right?
Yeah, so.
it's one of the things that we were concerned about at one point, which I think still makes sense, is, we shouldn't have for-profit organizations
I know.
profiting off
Yeah.
of
Mhm.
free space available, and we made an exception for tutors, but,
Right.
we don't want somebody, having 4 kids come in and having a Latin class.
Right.
And,
Right, and we do,
whatever.
I mean, we still, the summertime is always a challenge because there's some of the teachers that run book
Right,
groups.
that's.
Yeah.
And they are pushy, and,
Part of me loves that, though, I have to say, if it's a book group, that's something,
I understand, but they're making a
But
lot of
they're
money
charging.
off of
Yeah,
that, yeah,
yeah.
so now
They're-
Free
yeah,
book group.
yeah.
we worked out a
true.
policy, informal well, I guess it's a formal policy, where they use the meeting room. And they can only book the meeting room once a month. However, after their one meeting, they can come up to the desk, and if it's available the next week, they can book it another week. So that it's not that they can't grab all the slots for the whole summer in the room. But if it's available, then they can have it more frequently, and that seems to have worked out pretty well, they.
And that closes the meeting room though to anybody else.
Right,
who wants to use
exactly,
it.
so that's.
And
why
it's a
thought we
Profit
wrote
making.
into that meeting room policy, something to the effect of that it is not to be used for any
Yeah, I thought
profit.
so too.
Right, that you can't
Okay.
charge money for anything that
Right,
goes
you
on in
can't
there. That
charge
was a big
money,
part of our
but you
objective,
can.
yeah.
You can't charge money, but so what I'm thinking of is more, we've had a company that does retirement planning, for example. They can have a seminar, but they can't charge money to have it.
But
But
you
the
can have.
tutors-
a
The tutors charge
But the
you money.
tutors
college
charge money.
counselors in there too. charge
That's,
money.
But
well,
we made it because we thought the library should be a place that was safe, like where they didn't have to go to Starbucks. And, it was safe and it was quiet, they need to be in a public place.
And the
You
other
know.
part of that is policing who is charging money
Mhm.
and who isn't, is a path I don't really wanna go
Well,
down.
but
Like-
Roman, I think that
I'm just meeting with this high school student, just to get to and chat, like the people will,
Yeah.
to have to try to ask everyone, what is your purpose, and then police that,
I
don't
think the language that you had about
Yeah,
one-on-one.
right.
Let's try to talk.
Yes,
Catherine, go.
I think the language that you had about one-on-one tutoring gets you there. The book groups, that's sort of, the person running the book group sort of trying to maximize the margins there by having a number of kids in there and charging collecting a fee from the parents per head is a different situation from tutoring, and we want to encourage the tutoring or at least allow the tutoring. Then I think that when you use the language about one-on-one, I think that sort of gets you there. And then if someone comes to you and says, I have 2 kids for this session, then well, okay, like it's case by case, like that's fine. But that sort of gives you a gating mechanism to avoid those book groups, which I know we've had this conversation a million times. I'm not going to belabor it, but
I
those
know.
book groups are
Perennial.
not what they appear to be. They're not, and they're a conflict of interest and inappropriate in every way. So that, I have a big thing about that.
But what do you
Yeah.
really think about that?
So I'm all for discouraging those book groups in every way possible, but I realize that our objective is actually to provide, be a hospitable place for the tutoring, which I support completely. So anyway, I think if you kept the language about one-on-one, it gets you there.
I personally would rather just keep it to two individuals
Mhm.
and not really start opening the door of, well, maybe, 2 could be on one end of the table
And
and 2
I
could be at
see
the other.
that
and-
happening.
It's
When you're-
Yeah,
It's very
think
different.
it's distracting. I think,
Just as distracting
I
as you
think,
discovered.
and maybe we do on a case by case basis, if someone says, well, these 2 kids are friends and they both have tutors and they're okay to work together, work in the same room, then that's That's something that
I
we could do.
suggested, always good to brainstorm, but B, also, because there is so much pressure to provide space.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
an awfully large room and
It
table
is,
for
it
2
is.
people. So that was that.
We'll use the
Yeah.
old shades to create.
Dividers.
Well,
I think
I
it's
say
fine.
leave it,
Let's
we
just,
can always
it's
amend
fine.
the policy.
okay.
yeah, let's just
See
move
how-
ahead with
let's
that.
See how it goes,
Yeah, I
and if it
agree.
turns out that, there is a need,
We can revisit.
we
Yeah.
can revisit, okay.
Okay, so do you need a
I
motion?
think that we need
Okay.
to vote on it, yeah.
And with the write-up that you provided, I'll make a motion to approve the write-up as you provided it.
I'll second.
All in favor? Do we need a roll call for this, or can we do a?
I think you can do
I
it
think
all in favor.
Yeah, I think we can, right? All in favor, aye.
I-
Any opposed?
Oh, no.
Right.
Okay, no.
The motion carries unanimously.
You had it for the-
No, we want to oppose.
No, I'm in favor of it.
We know.
Great, thank you so much. And then the only other thing that I have is we are closing a little bit early on January 23rd. Megan is taking the community services group out to dinner. For a holiday dinner. We didn't do anything on the holidays, and so she's gonna do something. So we got permission from town manager, and we're gonna close at 5:00.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Thank you very
Roman.
much. A lot.
Would you like to now switch gears and give us the financial report?
Do you want to talk?
Or Angela?
Out of here.
It's just getting fun.
Catch me up.
Oh, come on, Kristen, don't you find this fascinating?
Thank you, Kristen.
Well,
Good to see you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks for
Thanks,
your
Kristen.
original ideas.
So we actually have, the December bills that Catherine signed for. I need you guys to sign them also, so those are there.
Do you have a pen?
Yes,
Thank you.
and then, the January bills, which you could tell the warrant was really small,
So we ought to vote on them though before we. sign,
Yes,
right?
so, if there's any questions or anything, I mean, there wasn't anything super crazy on there, I don't think so.
So Jen, the only thing is that Jen.
Jen
is
reimbursement.
for-
The
yep, she
education
just graduated with her MLAS in
Nice.
December, so.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah, I'm so impressed that she was able, she went nights, she has 2 young children, she works full time and completed it all, so. The town does reimburse, $2,500 for her, expenses, so. I'm glad that we can give her
Yeah,
that.
we'll just,
This is Jen?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
isn't that awesome?
yeah, I'm really excited
so
for
great.
her.
Yeah.
So do we need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have to do both
Second.
bills, or is it?
You wanna do one at a time?
Yeah, we usually do for the bills. Okay.
You're making a motion.
Okay, motion to approve the December bills.
Second,
Okay, so just to run the roll call for the motion to.
Do you want us to do it in the room, Catherine?
Yes, that would be very helpful. Thank you, Carolyn.
You're looking tired.
We can just go around the room, say our name and whether we approve.
Yes.
Thank you.
Megan approved.
Elaine Breslow approves.
Carolyn Coffey approved.
Steve Brown approved.
Sarah Pease approved.
Mary Lou Lawrence approved.
And Catherine Harvey approves. All right,
Wonderful.
so
And a motion to approve the January bills.
Second,
Megan Brinson.
Elaine Breslow approves.
Carolyn Coffey approved.
Steve Brown approved.
approved.
Sarah Pease approves.
Mary Lou Lawrence approved.
Catherine Harvey approves.
I
Excellent,
love
thank
this
you.
group.
We like to keep it simple when we can.
Sure,
Yeah.
Everybody's name.
Okay, and then what do we have next?
Uh,
Report?
Director's report. Yeah, I really don't have much to say this month. I mean, the only real development was just, still more frustration on the pavilion, which I think Carolyn could probably give more detail on, which would probably also fill the CLT report. Although, there was a CLT meeting which I missed.
that.
You went to that. Okay,
Yeah.
so you want to give us a report on the CLT meeting first, or Carolyn, do you want to speak to the pavilion first?
I don't really have that much to say, except that it was 70, the number that they're contributing more, right? 75, something.
I wasn't there.
Oh, okay.
I'm not there anymore.
It's 75575. Yeah.
Kind of an interesting number for numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, I have the review, but
Yeah.
that was the main,
That was,
the main.
yeah,
piece of it.
yeah, and so we'll probably
do
ask
you have
for
a pen
that
or
in
you need a-
February or something like
Yeah.
that, in February.
We need the.
I don't know if
pen.
this is newsworthy
Thank you.
for this group, but Woody Chidick resigned from the group.
Oh,
From the trust, yeah. And the person in charge is Tom.
Tom Littauer.
Yes, he's encouraging all their members to contribute $5,000 to the.
Good
to the
idea.
Pavilion, yes, he said all the members here, and then I said, oh.
That would be a yes.
It's like, wait a second, it's my first time. Feel like I just
Good for
got,
Tom.
I got tricked into. showing up today.
But you're contributing a lot of your time, Brooke.
$5,000 worth, I don't know.
I mean, as a trustee, doing double duty counts in my book.
Anyway, so there wasn't that much. more
We
to
got
say.
the
That was
$10,000 annual donation from the Bayer Fund that came in.
Oh, that's
So,
great.
Yeah,
Thank
the 2 sisters. They don't want any recognition at all. They don't even want the letter sent to their house. They want it to go to their lawyer.
And I called the lawyer one time and talked to him because we thought about like writing a story,
about their years of contributions, and he was like, I said, would you think they would like any recognition? He goes, if you do that, I don't think you'll see another dollar. I was like, sold.
Okay. I know, I mean, it's wonderful. I
Yeah.
do feel bad that we can't,
Yeah.
I would love to be able to thank them more personally,
That's
but
so
they
nice.
don't,
Yeah.
want it, so.
They don't even want their name, I think there's gonna be a plaque, right, for people that.
Well, they're on
donated
the,
now.
They're on
the wall,
Yeah.
but we were gonna move them up.
Yeah, because now they're
it-
philanthropists.
Yeah,
You know,
and
they-
we're gonna have maybe a ceremony
Yeah.
or something, a picture at least, that, now they're up in this next level and they don't want anything.
They don't want others coming.
They don't. want-
Mm,
Maybe
that
that's a
could
good
be,
point.
that
Good
could be.
point.
But it would have been great publicity for us that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
remind people that, we have this fund.
Still accept
We
contributions.
will accept contributions. Anyway, so do you want to talk about the?
I think, last we spoke, we had reposted, and, we, got one bid. We reposted just for the hardscaping, that we were gonna break it up into 3 pieces. We reposted just for the hardscaping and got one bid for an exorbitant amount of money, for more than it was gonna cost for the
The whole
entire
thing.
thing. When we first went out, and so Michelle was apoplectic. She's like, I do not understand this, I've got, things going out for town hall, for the alarm system and everything else, and we're getting, 4 bidders for this one and 6 bidders for that one and 7 bidders, like, why aren't we getting bidders for this? And apparently the recreation department has partnered with a company whose name escapes me right now. But they're landscape architects, and they have, contacts with people all over in the industry.
Activist or
And-
activist, something like that,
And,
right?
Activitas,
something like it, yes.
Activitas, thank you. So Michelle's recommendation was that we try one more time, and post it. I think it was gonna be this week. I tried to,
I think it was today.
Or all
yeah,
our-
it was,
Maybe
well,
it said
today, it
was
would be posted
today.
Friday. It had to be submitted
Oh,
today for
okay.
posting on Friday. So I texted her earlier because I wanted to be able to report tonight, but I didn't hear from her. But, using, you may recall, we had been using as our owner's project manager, the guy who did the town hall project, because the town had overpaid him for town hall, so he owed us some hours. But I think he,
Up to us.
maybe
Yeah.
wasn't, as engaged as somebody who was needing to get the paycheck all coming to them. So, Michelle wanted, had, Activitas look at the plans. They thought the plans were fine. And, so she just wanted to post it again with their network, with them pushing it to people that they knew. So, that was
Sounds
gonna happen
encouraging.
today, this week, and if not this week, it'll be next week. So hopefully by the end of the month, we'll have some,
So
More
have all of
information.
our local hardscapers been contacted
yeah.
and
She
invited?
emailed, like, I gave her a list of 10 people to, with, some of which were just like names of organizations, but some were like, okay, talk to this guy, And, I can't verify that actually happened, but she says she pushed it out to everybody and it's posted.
So even Rosano didn't even,
I mean, is the industry that busy with, private?
I don't know.
It
what the
doesn't seem
problem
like
is.
That big of a project.
Yeah.
but,
Maybe that's why.
I mean, people's patios
But
in
it's-
their backyards are
So,
about the same size.
The feedback that we got at one point was it was too big for the small guys and too
Mhm.
small for the big guys. So, we'll see.
And then the Friends, meeting is tomorrow. They pushed it back from, it was supposed to be the first of the month or second of the month, and so I'll can go to that.
Thank you.
They're doing well. They got, a $15,000 donation,
Wow.
from the estate. of a woman in Maine, and Rob Hillman was the executor or something. I don't quite understand the connection, but he recommended that the funds go to
Oh, cool.
the Friends.
Thank you,
Yes.
Rob.
So their account balance, I think, is about $100,000.
Wow.
Now. So.
Yowzer.
I
we
don't
can fund all the
Wasn't there
programs.
some sort of rule where you like,
I had heard
if you're
that.
a certain kind of nonprofit, you have to keep your balances?
I think it's your annual.
Yeah, but you could, I talked to
Spend it
Barbara
then.
about it, and she said that just means you move up to the next level. It's
Yeah.
not that you can't have
Oh.
a reserve.
So now
You
there'll have
just-
to be more reporting or something?
Something like that. You
There
just
could be,
change that.
I think it's more, I don't remember the rule exactly, but I think it has more to do with what you're collecting annually also. And they have a lawyer now engaged who can, help them stay on top of the
Keep them on
reporting
the
if
straight
that
and narrow,
needs
yeah,
to change.
Yeah, so they're doing really well, and which means we can request more for programming. If it's something that we wanna do. It's great for everybody. Yeah, so that's all I have. Anybody else have anything else?
Did everything work out with the mom, with the son who've been using?
Who were
Yeah,
here,
for
I
those.
wouldn't say it worked out, other than they moved on to somewhere else.
Hmm,
So, Officer Wilson kind of made the first contact with them, and he says he does this fairly often, but tried to be very, non-threatening. We're here to help, here's my card, please let us know if we can do anything, and his plan was to kind of gradually continue to make contacts and earn their trust. And almost right after that day, they moved to somewhere else. And so, it's a little frustrating because obviously they needed some help. And they just, I think, probably moved to another library. I'm assuming this is what happens is they come until they get approached and then move on.
okay.
So, yeah, I mean, it's, there's a lot of need out there, I guess, is, we've started, having little containers of, sanitary products in the bathrooms, just as something to offer, just a free, you need them, take them, and we've had to fill them up all the time. There's definitely that kind of a need, and, which is really, it's too bad. But it's the world that we're in right now, so we try to do what we can. But we now have the social workers comes, has hours here. We've had people come in and use her services. And we have all their business cards at the front desk. There's a couple of different social workers that work together as a team, and they're also work with the senior center. And so if anyone comes in and needs something, we have different cards, we can at least steer them in the right direction of where to get some help, so. Yeah. But yeah, that's that family, I don't know where they're gonna. Unfortunately,
Well, I think that's
Alright.
great that you have the ability to offer the services that the social
Yeah,
services.
yeah, I think, there's definitely a need. So, at least we can help, people come in looking for help, at least we can give them some resources.
Great.
Okay.
All right, anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Feel
everybody.
better, Catherine. Feel
Thank
better.
you, thank you.
Feel
I'm sure
better.
just a day or two, I'll be back in action. But thanks for your patience, everybody. Thank you, Bronwyn, and Happy New Year,
Thanks,
everybody.
Catherine. We'll talk to you.
Catherine looks so good.